Greetings and salutations to you all. Once again, it is me, the Ravenous Spectre, and this is a little bit of a video I've kind of had on my mind for a while now that I've really been wanting to make. And you guys can leave your comments at the bottom. We can have a little discussion. We can do whatever, just like I say in all of my videos. But it's basically kind of my thoughts on well, I've I've had discussions before dealing with PC gaming and console gaming, and I haven't really talked about handheld gaming too much. But then again, handheld gaming is in a class of its own. Whether it's a dedicated handheld or whether it's a mobile device, which I don't mess with mobile gaming. I'm pretty sure there's some games out there that are worth playing on mobile, but I've just never taken the time to, and knowing how much of a bitch my phone can be lately, I really don't know if I want to get into it, at least to start out right now. But that's beside the point. This is basically kind of me giving my little thoughts on, at least from my personal perspective. I mean, I'm not going to get super deep into this, but just from my own personal perspective about the differences in terms of dealing with PC and console gaming, just in terms of probably some of the main things that people get all up in arms about, which makes absolutely no sense, which, this war has been fought over and over and over again and arguing over and over and over again. But the real thing that I can kind of see, at least from my perspective, with console and PC is, and I'm speaking specifically on the console side here because you're obviously dealing with a lockdown unit. You're not dealing with an open unit to do whatever you see fit with like you would with a PC. Um, the console side of things is that the main thing that I can really see people being up in arms about, especially coming from the PC side of things, is obviously having to pay to play online, which is fucking stupid. That is the main thing that I can see, and obviously we're dealing with power as well. When you're dealing with PCs, you determine how powerful you want your rig to be. You determine your graphical settings. You determine the whole nine yards. With console, you just pop it right in and you start playing. Which everything is based on personal perspective. It's really just based upon personal preference. It's not the fact of this person is being raised up over this person or this, that, and the other. I mean, I've known of people who just want to stick with mobile gaming or just want to stick with handheld gaming. Does that make them wrong? No. If they're enjoying it, then they're enjoying it. I mean, I had a friend of mine one time that mainly just spoke of handhelds like the PSP, the PS Vita, the 3DS, the DS, so on and so forth. They did play some on consoles, but one of the main things they kind of discussed with me was handheld gaming, and that's just something that they really enjoyed. It's just all based upon personal preference. But yeah, that whole having to pay to play online just really gets a nerve on me. And yes, I've done it before. I have done it before. This was before PlayStation Plus was going down the crapper with their free games, which are shit nowadays, and the fact that they want to charge an extra $10 when they weren't even protecting our information in the first place to begin with. Fuck you, Sony. You won't be getting $60 for me anymore, by the way. You want to go and actually it was 50 for me. You want to go and charge 60, but you don't know how to protect our credit card information. Yeah, that's not happening. That's one reason why I don't put my information on there. That's why I don't do that, and I never will. Um, and and another thing that gets to me is obviously when we're talking about the whole power aspect. Yes, of course, you're going to be locked down to a specific type of graphical setting. Actually, that's not true. In a way, it is when it's coming from the hardware itself. But if you look at game developers and publishers, especially if they're specifically creating for that system, like say for PlayStation, for example, let's say the Uncharted series. You look at the Uncharted series, it's gorgeous. It is. When I first started playing the Uncharted series, not the first one really, but the first one was the first one. It really just made things the way that they are now for the series, which I still think the series is going to continue onward regardless. The fact is when I saw the second one in motion, and when I saw the third one in motion, and even when I saw the fourth one in motion, I could have sworn that game could have easily been on like a PC or been performing that way on a PC just by the way the graphics look, just by the way the animation was, just the motion capture, everything. When I looked at it, I was like, this thing seems like it would be on a PC. Obviously, it's not, but that's just taking into account the hardware aspect of the PlayStation, and then taking into account the type of hard work and dedication a publisher slash developer does with their specific title. It's also just like it comes into play when you're dealing with multi-platform games, and even though PC would actually have better graphical settings and more customization, there's launch days when new games come out and they're total shit. They run like shit. They look like shit. There's like no way. There's like no way to get around it like you would hope to be able to get around it in terms of the graphical settings and things like that. Which you probably would be, but not on the level that you would hope so. Especially also if they were to lock you down to a specific resolution. Um, but I mean, obviously that can also happen with consoles when they try to lock you down to a specific frames per second and a specific resolution, so on and so forth. And I've honestly never really had any problems when it deals with frames per second. It's never really occurred to me. Granted, there has been some frames per second that I've seen that have annoyed me, but if it's lower than the optimum 60 frames per second or whatever, if it's lower than that, it doesn't really get to me, honestly. Even at 30 frames per second, I haven't had any problems. When you get below 30, if you get to like 20 and 15, we got a damn problem, I'm just like, Jesus. But the fact is when you're dealing with the power, and I'm probably just rambling about power and playing online and all that stuff, but I just kind of felt like I wanted to make this video just to kind of discuss these things. At least I just wanted to get them off of my mind and wanted to just kind of discuss it with you guys if you wanted to have a discussion on it. But when you're dealing with the console side of things, you just pop it right in, you start playing, you deal with whatever graphical settings and things that you have. And with PC, obviously, you can optimize your graphical settings. And you don't have to pay to play online with playing on PC, but you do have to with consoles nowadays. Fuck that. So the real thing is how do you guys really feel about that? How do you guys really take that into account? Do you like being able to pay to play online? I mean, obviously, everybody would like to do it for free, but is the incentives and things that you get out of it, is it something that you like to do? Is it something that you could see yourself still doing in the future? I honestly, I can't. I did at one point because I was really wanting to know how the free games were going to be for me with PlayStation Plus, and obviously being able to play online and all that. And yeah, it was great playing for free on PlayStation 3, and then of course Sony's like, well, we're going to go ahead and skimp on the free games and how great they were back on PlayStation 3 and make it having to pay to play online with PlayStation 4 and then just make the free games crappy as shit. I'm serious. Everybody's going to have their own opinion about it. But my honest opinion, as well as like probably millions of others, at least all the opinions that I've heard, people haven't been liking them at all. They've been nothing like they were back on PlayStation 3. They're just like a bunch of indie titles, which there's nothing wrong with indie titles. There are some great indie games out there without a shadow of a doubt. But they have skimped so much on like AAA titles or titles that people would be asking for, and they're not doing it. It's not there anymore. Especially with the price being raised on PlayStation Plus, for example. And I know I'm specifically talking about PlayStation Plus here, but I'm also talking about Xbox Live, because from my experience with that, I'm not going to be renewing that at all either. When I got my Xbox One, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this out again and see where it goes. It hasn't really been anything for me. It just seems like it's another $50, $60 wasted. And that's exactly how I feel about PlayStation Plus now, too. And one of the things that I really try to do is I always try to avoid any type of online multiplayer games unless you can play them for free online, which there is some free-to-play games online without PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. Well, with PlayStation Plus anyways. I'm not sure about Xbox Live. But like Neverwinter, for example, at press time, and I'm hoping it stays this way, it is free to play, as well as Star Trek Online. That's free to play online as well. But I'm always going for free to play online games when it comes to console. And any games that would require multiplayer, obviously I'm avoiding those like the plague, which I never really go for those anyways. It's usually just a side activity, obviously, like multiplayer stuff, like say Uncharted 4's multiplayer or whatever. Obviously, I can't do that now because I don't have PlayStation Plus, which doesn't affect me one way or another. I've got such a huge backlog of other games, it's not affecting me at all. I really don't care. Across all systems, multiplayer is just a flash in the pan of time for me when it comes to gaming. Um, but now when it comes to playing on PC and playing online with that, obviously it has to be a specific game that really does grab me in, like, say, for example, Borderlands, which I need to get back onto playing that again. Borderlands, say any other MMORPGs that might be out there that wouldn't require a subscription service, like Lord of the Rings Online, which I've actually really been meaning to want to go back to that again. As far as I know, it's still free to play, and I've been wanting to get back into that again, knowing the type of Lord of the Rings fan that I am. But yeah, and I know this kind of just seems like a crazy little vlog that I'm doing. And honestly, there may actually be times where I may want to do some vlogs, possibly just to really get my thoughts out there on things that's going on in the gaming industry. Wanting, get some feedback. If there's something that I'm wrong on, then I would like to get you guys feedback as well, and things like that. Just really trying to also create and see if I can really create more content as well, more videos, more things to discuss being discussed in the gaming industry, which I kind of did that at one point, like recent events and things like that happening. I've backed off of that because I kind of want to have like an archive that really is just things that I can go back to and kind of just relive, instead of being like, oh, well, this is something that actually happened in history, and obviously it'll either get resolved or won't get resolved. So, something along those lines. But the fact is that maybe this could be something for me. Like, it wouldn't be like a daily vlog, but it would be something where anything that I really just want to get off my chest and discuss dealing with gaming. And I know I've also mentioned on this channel before about dealing with wrestling and heavy metal. That's definitely something. That's something that I need to really do. I really need to make my channel what it's supposed to be and what it needs to be. And it's like 99.9% gaming. And I really want to be able to try to look into pro wrestling more and heavy metal more as well. And I just haven't really taken the time to sit back and think about it, honestly. But even if I were to make some videos dealing with heavy metal or dealing with pro wrestling, they might not be as long per se as the gaming ones are, because I guess I just feel like even though they are two of my favorite things, I don't really. It's like, I guess I don't try to share as much knowledge or could gain as much knowledge from it as I would with gaming. It's weird for me, I know, but maybe hopefully that could be something that could change over the course of time. But anyways, I just want to go ahead and get this on out here and discuss it with you guys. If you want to, leave a comment, like, favorite, comment, subscribe, and all that other stuff. And I will talk at you lovely taters later.